all makes sense. Fisk becomes the kingpin by eliminating all his rivals with his anti-crime task force, and the public thanks him for it. He writes a few big checks and everyone looks the other way. But it's not just the task force. I've been taking his enemies down too. And the one who's been pointing me toward them is Craven. I can't let him get away with this. I need to know more, inside information on Fisk. And I've got an old friend who can get it. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's fun! Those two are up to no good. Busted.
Mencken to all agents. Following Oscorp's establishment of the Joint Anti-Crime Task Force with Fisk Industries, you are to provide whatever cooperation you may to executive-level Fisk employees. Any instructions from Mr. Fisk are to be treated as if they come from me. If you have any concerns, communicate them to me via the dedicated phone number and/or email address I have provided for task force-related matters.
That'll wake you up! I'm always awesome, but sometimes I'm extra awesome. Web-slinging fail. Something awful went down here. Just what I needed. Only a real sicko signs his work like that.
You think I'm some kind of vigilante? An urban legend who's killed other killers? Please. I just figured they'd understand death when they met it. Help me understand. But you want to hear something funny? They're just as shocked as anyone. And then it hit me, just recently. I've been looking for some kind of meaning in death, but maybe I'd already found it. Maybe death is as meaningless as life.
Whoever did this is sick. Great composition. This guy has a screw loose.
I used to be like you, Doc. Trying to find answers. But there aren't any. Laws are only words. Death is just the end of the ride. You know what killing killers taught me? The only difference between them and solid citizens is they know the truth. That's my new mission. To show people. Open their eyes. Huh, it's the least I can do. I worked so hard to find the answers. Now I get to share the good news.
Who invited you?
Couldn't ask for a better picture. Gotcha! Wonder what Jonah Jameson complained about before I came along. Traffic?
Megan to Ravencroft agents. Activity in the Venom Wing is to be doubled. Authorization comes directly from Mr. Osborn. He feels that Richard Parker's spider venom experiments are the key to preventing him from sharing his father's fate. I realize this will require additional test subjects. A new inmate, a serial killer by the name of Cletus Cassidy, will be available to you soon. He is not someone whose welfare is of great concern to the public.
You gotta be one sick puppy to do this.
Now that's a keeper. Sooner or later, guys like this always make a mistake.
My family, the kids at the home, the people I met afterward, they all looked so surprised when they died, like they couldn't believe it was happening. I wasn't learning anything new. I needed more. I realized I had to start killing people who wouldn't be surprised. People who knew death, and who knows death better than someone who brings it to others. That's when I decided to start killing killers.
Just when you think I can't get any better! I'd love to get a shot of Detective DeWolf's evidence. Perfection. Very interesting.
Of all the city's crime bosses, the Hood scares me the most. I thought his black magic gimmick was just that, an act. But I've seen and heard enough to make me wonder. I saw him walk on air and disappear in front of my eyes. And sometimes his guns seem to shoot hellfire. And that voice sends chills up my spine. I've busted guys who say he's possessed by a demon. But that's just a rumor, and it's gotta be, right?
The public thanks him for it. He writes a few big checks and everyone looks the other way. But it's not just the task force. I've been taking his enemies down too. And the one who's been pointing me toward them is Craven. I can't let him get away with this. I need to know more.
Every day a new crisis, a new distraction. Armed lunatics take hostages in our building. Some low-level employee gets himself electrocuted on the job. I don't need this. I can't have it. And the whole city's a mess. If the police can't keep order, I will. The battle armor we're developing for the military could help. I don't have the connections in local government to make it work, but I know a potential investor who does.
Right information on Fisk. And I've got an old friend who can get it. Harry's more likely to talk to his old pal Peter Parker than some nut in a costume.
Wow. Everyone knows Fisk is crooked. But you're saying he's actually setting himself up as the top crime boss in New York?
That's what I've been hearing. I'm working with Whitney Chang on a story, and she needs proof. You're closer to Fisk than anyone I know.
Not really. He keeps his business private. But, as an investor, I do have access to the task force's financial records.
Oh.
Okay. One of the addresses you gave me came up. Large payments to a security consultant. Fisk handles all the personnel decisions. He's the one who hired this Kravinoff guy. But he cooked the books, so technically, Oscorp's paying him. He's trying to throw me under the bus.
Join the club.
You okay?
Yeah, it's just... I trusted someone I shouldn't have. And I probably should have seen it, but... after losing my dad and Uncle Ben... I guess I wanted to believe...
You wanted a father figure. I know what that's like. My dad shut me out of his life to focus on saving his own. And all he ended up leaving me was the disease that killed him.
Huh? Harry, I'm sorry. What is it?
It's genetic. Very rare. Degenerative. My father extended his life by spending a fortune while he looked for a cure. I don't have that kind of time.
There's gotta be some hope.
Gene therapy. That's what all my dad's research was about.
Is that why Norman started the cross-species experiments?
Yeah. He thought he could give himself the resistance some animals have to conditions like this. But the closest he ever got was the work he did on spiders with your father.
But Dad disappeared. And his work went with him. Your task force. Their body armor has medical applications. Can it help at all?
It's not a cure, but it can give mobility to people who can't get around on their own. The task force has helped me improve on it, and protect my research from criminals who'd steal it. But it was a mistake to work with Fisk.
He knows you're sick?
He figured it out. And now he's waiting for me to die so he can take Oscorp for himself. Listen, Pete. Take it from a guy who knows. When the people you trust turn their back on you, it's just proof you have to handle your problems yourself. But sometimes, you still need help.
Harry, I'll do whatever I can for you. Just tell me what—
Spider-Man. No one knows for sure how he got his powers. But he looks to me like the only successful, healthy example of cross-species genetics out there. You take pictures of him. You must have some way of reaching him.
Well,
Peter, I need Spider-Man's blood.
who can resist that?
As if I didn't have enough problems. Now I have to worry about Oscorp being stolen out from under me. Donald Menken's supposed to work for me. And for now, he's doing what I say. But it's obvious he'd like to run the place. Then there's Wilson Fisk. He keeps offering to buy the company. I might even sell it, if I didn't need Oscorp's research division to find a cure for my disease. I've got to watch them. They'd both stab me in the back without thinking twice.
suitable for framing. I hate to do this behind Harry's back, but he's been acting strange lately. I'll only give this to Jameson if it looks like Oscorp's breaking the law.
I caught up with Peter Parker. We used to be pretty good friends when we were kids, and our dads were partners. I was hoping he might be able to tell me more about his father's research, but he doesn't know any more than I do. Less, actually. Based on Dad's papers, I get the impression Richard Parker went on the run because Dad wanted to weaponize his research. Typical Norman Osborn. He either ran off or killed the one guy who might have been able to save his life.
Huh. A little early for Halloween, isn't it? Biology, genetics, medicine. Pretty heavy stuff for the Harry Osborn I remember.